Okay, so building a death ray. What we're going to do is we're going to pop the whole model apart, and then we're going to cut out on the underside following these panel lines all the way around so that we can remove that under section and insert all the little engines that we're going to 3D print. At the same time, we're going to remove all like the peg holes and stuff like that, as well as the guns, anything that's really fragile that could snap off and break while we're cutting up the underside. As for the shuttle, we're going to take the peg hole off, and then we've got this nice little guideline. We're going to cut all the way through the model, almost to the top, so that what that's going to do is allow me to bend the model and reposition it to give it a more of a bird-like positioning. Okay, so we've done all the rough cuts around the underside. That just needs to be knifed back, sanded to make it look really neat and clean. And then the next step is we need to make some cuts on the top side edge so that that back end can lift up, allowing the engines to fit in the cavity we've just created. At the moment it's just way too small to fit the engines in, which have come off the 3D printer, which are just behind me. So we got 4 of these little engines, which have got some really nice details of some like hot rod pipes and everything like that. And they will slip straight inside and just have the tips sticking out. Okay, so we've done our rough cuts on the top, rough cuts on the bottom. We've got our 3D printed engines, and just a quick little dry fit. We can see that they're going to fit in there really quite nicely. Okay, so the wings have come off the 3D printer, sliced through the bottom half of the shuttle. Went a little bit too deep, but I'm not too worried about that little blob of milliput, and that'll be able to be blended in. Here's the wings. I'm not 100% if these are the right sizes, but they've come out beautifully. They're going to work just right. So we'll be able to do that with those smaller ones and create the little tail feathers for the back. And these are the ones that I'm not quite sure about. I think I'll probably print those a lot bigger, and they will create the wing for the top. Okay, onto the turret. So what I've done is I've measured off the back end of the gun emplacement and found a center point. And then I've worked my way up from 1mm all the way up to 11mm. It gives you a nice round hole. But what that does is allows the ball turret to sit just nicely within the falcon. Okay, I've also snipped off the barrels of the 3D printed ball turrets and replaced them with 1mm brass rods so that they don't break in gameplay. So when it goes back together, it'll have a central tube that goes top to bottom with a central pin, which will attach to both ball turrets, so that when you move the top one, the bottom one will move correspondingly. Okay, so I've got the central tube fitted, support for the engines to make sure that they sit square within the falcon. It clicks together really nicely, folds back into place. And I've started to build up and fix all the cut lines with styrene. The tube's been cut and drops in nicely for the rotating turret arc, and I'll probably waft some primer over it now just so I can see what I'm doing, make sure that these cut lines are nice and flush with the falcon, so it also highlights where I need to get my filler in place. Right, okay, so 6 hours or so of sanding and filling, but it's back together now. I don't think you needed to watch a little time-lapse video of me sanding and filling, but there's still a little bit left to do, but it's back in one piece. Everything is exactly how I want it. Hopefully start getting some paint on it real soon. Okay, so the Falcon's all ready to have its base coat put on and start layering up some paints. I'm going to be using SMS Scale Modeler Supply. First you put down a gloss black base coat, and then we're going to build it up with Color Shift, Galaxy and Nebula paints, also by SMS. And they are a two-tone iridescent color shifting paint, which is going to just look awesome. So it's going to have a four-tone paint job on it. And then finally, the engines are going to be coated in metallic super silver, which is a very high build silver that creates chrome parts. Okay, so today is assembly day. We're going to start getting the engines in. They're a little tiny bit too fat to fit inside the spaceship, which normally happens. So I just need to shave a little tiny bit off each side, like I've done with this one. As you can see, just a little bit on each side, and then that'll allow it to slip right into location on the underside. Okay, so I've been a model maker now for, on and off for the past 25 years for film and television. And some of the tips and tricks I've learned over the years have drastically changed with the advent of 3D printing technology. Whereas before, I'd have to collect absolutely loads of different model kits and save them and scavenge them from wherever I possibly can, collecting bits and parts from broken toys, you name it, is now been completely made obsolete for the advent of the 3D printer. And I'm very lucky to have a thermostat controlled cabinet that I've made for my Saturn and wash and go machine. This has completely revolutionised everything I do for model making, whereas before I used to have to scratch build and kit bash from all the model kits. Now I can get online, search out the parts I need to make my spaceships or model or whatever I'm working on, download the files and literally press a button and I'm able to get the parts I need. Okay, so it's all done. It was a fantastic project to do. I always love doing a death ray. I've done them in the past for myself as well for clients. Aspects of this one that I really like was how the shuttle turned out. I'm not a huge fan of crossovers, so converting it into the Wakandan ship from the comic book really worked well, I thought. Other aspects that I love are the gas mine can be used as a turret indicator. So you've got the red sign that allows you to turn left to right. If you don't want to use that one, the ball turret on the main Falcon as well. There's nothing I'd really change about it. I'm really quite pleased with the final results, and I hope whoever it goes to in the future enjoys it as much as I did making it. Thanks to Dion and all the guys at GSP. I really enjoy your cast and it was an honour to take part in your painting competition. All the best.